Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, March 5th, 2020 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I harmonize with the energies. And as I am recording it, we have Venus just about to shift into Taurus. We will have Venus in Taurus all the way through April 3rd. So we have about a month of Venus and Taurus energies. And with every sign and every placement, there's always the happy lessons and there's always the challenging lessons. The blissful, wonderful lesson of Venus and Taurus is it's time to amplify your pleasure. Taurus is a very sensual sign, and Taurus to me represents where we connect to our senses, especially the five senses, these physical, earthy, fleshy pleasures that we have here on this planet. So smells, taste, touch, I'm blanking because it's Mercury retrograde. those are the three ones that are coming up. But basically, really utilizing your senses to have a pleasurable experience. And this goes hand in hand with one of the big lessons of Taurus and a big lesson of Venus, the lesson of worth. You are worth beautiful things. You are worth wonderful things. You are worth a pleasurable experience. In fact, in the background, you can probably hear Malo having a pleasurable meal over there. He scoops his food out, dumps it on the floor, and then eats it from there. So, pleasure, indulging in it, but not going too far. And that's where Venus in Taurus, one area of Venus in Taurus can be a challenge, is that we have not learned balance. We have not learned how to harmonize in pleasures. We want to overindulge, and a lot of times we want to overindulge to check out. And especially as we have, challenging things going on, lots of feels, coming up. A lot of times we will overindulge to try to cancel out the feels. You can never cancel out the feels. They're always going to be there. So watch that during this. Another big thing is there's the worth on the happy, positive, wonderful side. And yet with Venus and Taurus, especially as she moves in, connects with Uranus, we may be triggered to those places where we do have to do some worth issues. I saw a thing, you post it on Gaia Blooming, a quote by Jaya John, I believe. I might be wrong, but it's basically, there's three important things, and there's a lot more than three important things, but this really connects. How you treat others, how you treat yourself, and how others treat you. And all of those three things will reflect your worth and how you're showing up in it. So be very aware of that. How are people treating you? Because how people treat us ultimately ends up at the place of how we allow them to treat us. And it's not to say that there's, that they're in the right because they're doing that. No, it's not about that. But we all have healing to do around our worth stuff. So be very aware of that. And be aware too, if you're finding yourself, lashing out at others, it may be that you need some kindness, some TLC for yourself, because chances are you are acting out because you are stressed out or need some healing. And so how are you treating yourself comes back to that right there. Now, I do want to mention Venus in Taurus will be at 0 degrees for basically the next 24 hours from this recording. So Venus may feel offline, so the day may not feel pleasurable, or you may find yourself swinging wildly to, I must bring in the pleasure and I must go shopping and spend a lot of money. Again, Venus and Taurus can be very overindulgent, let me surround myself with the pretty things. And again, you're deserving of pretty things, but it's also realizing there's a lot of beauty around you and holding the worth and value of that. Key words: pleasure, worth, and value. And really noticing the value of what you surround yourself with. That's where the work's really going to be for Venus in Taurus. All right, so besides that, today we have the moon in Cancer making all of the connections. Moon in Cancer is going to be connecting to the sun, to Neptune, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And those Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn connections, they're all oppositions. So we may feel stretched. We may feel pulled. This is where we can work, though, and find that the harmonizing of the energies, the lessons of Capricorn. How are you showing up in your personal responsibility? How are you responding to that which is showing up? Are you honoring yourself? Are you honoring your process? Or are you folding to the shoulds? Are you folding to how people, corporations, society, the media, etc. thinks you should do it? This goes back to those authority lessons that we talked about. Who is the authority in your life? Where have you given that over? And you will find peace when you take back your authority and when you're tending to yourself. Moon in Cancer is reminding us that we have an obligation to feel the feels. We have an obligation to being human and experiencing the human things, which includes, feeling the feels, processing the feels. In fact, as part of the cards I have the isolation card. And here he is crying, but it's like Osho says in this card, in this deck, those tears are really where the liberation from this isolation will come from. I also have, in reverse, the laziness and the flowering card. And my feeling is that, yeah, there's some work to do. There's going to be some emotional stuff coming up. Check where Cancer is in your chart. That may give you a key, what you're moving through. I also want to mention within these, your intuition is definitely going to be heightened as we have Cancer moving through, Pisces energy abounding. So really listen to your intuition. What is it that you need right now to help you move through this energy? Last thing I want to say. Again, we still have these Chiron squares as well, the nodes squaring that Chiron energy. And so there's healing that is happening. There's healing to be done. In fact, I also have this exhaustion card. So if you're feeling tired still, it is not laziness. It's part of your personal flowering. And I wouldn't say that you're in the blooming stage. I think it's more like the pushing through the tough layers of dirt that have been there for a really long time. It feels more of like that energy. So be aware of that. Be aware of what your healing process is and how you can be kind and nurturing to yourself during that. So that is it for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you, and you do have the power. Namaste.